Let's learn the Linux user management. Hello guys, now I'm going to explain about the users and group administration here in Linux machine. Basically a user makes sense about who is using the system. Okay, now I am a normal user which is created under the AWS instance class. First of all guys, you must have the Linux system which is in local or in cloud. I was using the cloud instance Linux one because I do not have local machine. Now if I have a local machine, my system will be slowed down, so that's why I was using a EC2 user instance from AWS cloud. So basically I did have a Linux machine now. So for the user and group administration we need this one. So actually the user makes sense about who is using the system. The user is of many types, like we can have root user, we can have normal user, or we can have network user, and we can have super user. Like these many users are there. So now I'll explain the topic one. I'm opening a document. Basically I have a document. I will explain you all the examples for that. See, there is a document here. Okay, now user and group users, group administration. Basically, what is a user? In Linux, user is the one who uses the system. Users, as I said before, the users are of 5 types. They are system user. System user means the admin user who will control all the users and nothing but the root user. As you know, all like in Linux, the root user controls all the users. Right under the root users, all users will be there. Like if we want to create a user, we need to be a root user one. Okay, system user, normal user. Normal users means the user who is created by the root or super user. Like if we creating like if we, for example, if we create a user like using user add command, then the user will be the user who created will be a normal user. System user, normal user. Network user. Network user is nothing but in organizations we have much networks and much topologies, right? So that type of users is called nothing but network users. And if organizations may have Active Directory or LDAP systems, in Linux it is called LDAP, but in Windows it is called Active Directory, who are logging through that Active Directory. So those users are called network users. Pseudo user having special privileges, guys. Like he may have root privileges to run the command anywhere. That is called the pseudo user. Pseudo user means he can be a normal user and he can also be a root user. That is what the pseudo user about. See here, I want to explain this. Super user, for example, root user. The user ID starts from 0 and his home directory will be root. Okay, as a root user is also called a super user, system user. Okay, system user basically user ID starts from 1 to 499. In this range you can define any ID number for that users who you will create. Normal user is the user who is created by the super user or root user. Okay, like if you are creating a command user by using user add or add user command, after that the range, so those users are called normal users. The user ID basically starts from 500 to 60,000. This is the range. In this range you can assign any of the ID to user who you create. The home directory will be home username. This is a home directory, and the default shell is allocated to that users is called bin bash shell. Okay, User management. So what is management, guys? Managing all the users who is under you is called a user management actually, like creating the users, deleting the users, modifying permissions to users, modifying the file permissions to that users. So these are all comes under user management. Okay. The important point related to users are, so these are the some important points related to user. Okay, when you're creating a user, the user, how can we list the user? If you want to know how many list of users, how many users are there, or you want to see the list of users you have, so you can go to the etc password file to check that list. Okay, so it's you can check like this. But if you go to home directory, there may be a number of users there. You can see the users directories. In that way also you can check the number of users. So whatever the user's password is created, passwords for the users, many you may have a number of users under you upon you, but if you have passwords to that users, so that password is stored under this file, etc shadow file, in an encrypted format. Sorry, not in, basically it is not in a basic format. If it is in a basic format, those will be stealed away, so it will be stored in encrypted format in etc shadow file. This is one of the important point, guys. Every file in the system is owned by the user and associated with a group. So if I have two groups, and one group contains many of the users and another group contains many users, and each have many files. So specifically a file belongs to this user for this group, so it will be like that. So every file in the system is owned by that particular user in that particular group whom they create the file. That is how. So some environmental variables will be there, like path setting. If you are a user, if you create a user, he could be able to execute some of the commands. How can he execute some commands? He is given a path to execute the commands where it is stored, like bash rc bash logout shell. Basically a bash profile shell will contains to execute bash rc. Bash rc file contains of, he should execute it contains of the path which contains the basic Linux commands. He may given a path to execute that, so that the normal user who is created can execute all the commands anywhere. That is how it works. See, what I said is here etc password file. In this etc password file, the home directory, how many users will be present, we can see there. As I said before, etc shadow file. In the etc shadow file, you can see all the passwords for all the users in encrypted format. It will be stored there. Like you can maintain a number of passwords to a number of groups also, and that group passwords will be stored in the file called gshadow. Basically for the users, the password will stored for shadow, and for groups it is indicated as gshadow. You can easily remember, guys. Okay, so as before, as similar before, the users details will be stored in the etc password file, and the the information about the groups will be stored in the /etc/group file. So it is kind of easy. So the default, whenever the user is log into the systems or log into the Linux systems, the default settings will be taken from this file, login.dfs. Okay, skill. It is like, as I said before, the environmental variables like bash rc, bash profile, and all these things, and all the default environmental variables which is set. Like if you're installing Java, if you're installing any Python, we need to set the path. If we set the path in a default manner, like /etc/ profile file, so the default file will be taken from this one, /etc/skill. as it is taken, and the default environmental variables will also copy to the home directory, where it is in the hidden format. So you can see over there like dot bash rc or that dot bash profile, bash logout will be there. Default environmental variables will be this one, like if you are logged into the system, he may bash rc profile will be executed, and if you are log out to this from the system, so dot bash logout will be executed. So like that we can maintain anything in the etc scale directly. All those environmental variables will be stored in etc directory file. So how can we create a user? There are two ways, like we have two commands, that is user add file and add user file. Add user command, sorry, if not file, it is a command, sorry. User add command and add user command, like we can see here, these are the commands, very important commands. So in a user and group administration, this is a very important first command, that is add user. Sorry, my connection has been expired. Now I need to reconnect this. My IP address has been changed, so I have to go to copy IP address. Okay, I've been connected to my system, Linux system. So I now I'm a root user. Basically the AWS user, which is in the AWS instance, if you're taking that, you may get the EC2 user. He's also a sudo user. Particularly it is a very default one which is created in the AWS instance, so you need not to create it. If you have a local Linux system, you need to create users as well, and it is not default as a AWS Linux instance. So now I'm a root user. I'm gonna create a user using a command called add user command. Add user, user called some, I'm taking some username called ram. File exist, sure, okay. Now I'm gonna taking the add user, username called Miri. Okay, now we can see here that as I said before, you can check the users in the home directory. See, you have three users called Ram Mary. Now this is the user I have created. As I said before that the home directory for root user also called a super user, who can create normal users. Now I'm creating under the root user we have three users. Now as I said before, I created a user called user add command, and the home directory will be this. So you can see this here, this is the home directory, and ID, we can check the ID of the user by using ID command, Mary. See, you can see this. As I said before, the normal users ID starts from 502 to 500 to 60,000. In this range, we can give any number of ID. We can assign any number of ID to users. CD. So this is my user I have created now. As I said before that we can check the number of users by going this /etc by opening /etc /password file. Okay, now I can see here that I have three users, that ECT user, RAM user, and Mary users. In this way also you can check the number of users which you have created under the root. As a root user, you may create a number of users around 500 to 60,000. So you can check the list of users here. You may have home. The home directory is /home/Mary, and this is a user ID, and this is group ID, and this is the bash which has given by default to him. Okay, So now you can see here that if I'm going to the as you can see here, EC2 also is user is also called a normal user. So I can be a sudo user, I can be a normal user. It is given by default by the Amazon Linux instance. So I'm going to the root user. Now who am I? I'm a EC2 user. Now basically I did come to the normal user times. Now I can do some, see, I can show you that my password is not been allocated now, but whenever you are having that etc password file, we now, as before previous, we are listed number of users, and we added a user called that one. Now I'm gonna show you the environmental variables, default environmental variables. I'm gonna show you that see ls-a. It is in the, as I said before, it is in the hidden format. You can see here that bash logout, bash profile, and bash rc. These are the default environmental variables, because this is also present in etc/etc/kel, and that will be allocated to every user. See, if I'm going to I'm becoming a root user now. Here now I'm in the root. So now if you go to the /etc kel, see here also you can see bash logout, bash profile, and bash rc. So this is what these are allocated to. If you are creating any of the user, which command call user, you can create a number of user. All the users will be given this one: bash logout, bash profile, and bash rc. Okay, so that the user will be given access to run the command from anywhere in his root directory. Okay, that is what I'm saying. And these are copied to my EC2 user, so that EC2 user can execute some commands like ls, like who am I, basic commands. Because EC2 user is executed when I log into the system, bash rc profile is executed, in which the environmental path is given. So I can show you that if you see here ls-a, we have bash profile. When you log into the system, first of all this will be executed, this file will be executed, vi dot bash profile. Okay, so you can see here that he is given the environmental variable path, in which local bin is given. So you can run any path from this. So if you see here, whenever the bash profile is executed, run the bash rc file. Okay, it is present in this path also, but let's see. So this file says to run this file. What is in bash rc? We can see bash rc, sorry, vi dot bash rc. See, you see here in /it bash rc file is there, may execute that. So one path is given, one variable path, so you can execute any command from here. As a user, he may have some privileges to execute some commands. That is what he is saying about it. Okay, now if you see this, we have a number of options like this. Like if we want to mention the user, like the user ID basically starts default from 500, 501, 502 to some extent. But if you want to give your custom ID number to user, you can use -u, uid, -g, group ID, -g, add to some group, and -c. If you want to remember the user with some name, so you can comment the user now, -c, which should be the home directory, -s, which shell should be allocated for them. So like a user may have, so when you're creating a user, you may have a number of options. These are the options, some of the options there. -F, like whenever you're deleting a user, uh, whenever you're deleting a user, you can forcefully, if a user does not have some, if a user is using some files, the user may not be deleted. So in that case, you can forcefully delete the user, even though he is in the login. Okay, recursively means his home directory will also get erased, guys. That is what recursively. In home directory, he may has a number of files like /etc directory, /opd directory, /f. All the file system directories are there. So if you are going recursively, in the home directory, all these directories will also get erased. That is what recursively means. So you can delete the user by using a command called usertail. So I'm gonna forcefully remove this. I'm gonna recursively delete this. The home directory should be removed. User called run. Okay. Permission denied. See why it is denied permission? Because I do not have some of the privileges which has a root user. The root user have all permissions to delete. He's a all-rounder system user. Now as I'm a user, I'm a normal user, I cannot delete anything. So I'm not having permissions to delete, guys. So what I'm doing, I'm becoming a root user. Now I'm a root user, you can see this. So as a root user, I can delete the user. So user did, I'm gonna recursively delete this, forcefully delete. Which user I'm gonna remove? RAM. So my RAM user is deleted. See, ID RAM. No such user. As before, if I see the one, the RAM user is there, but now it is saying that no such user. This is how we can delete the user. How can we check integrity of the group file, like integrity of the password file and integrity of the group file? Like if you see this, whenever you these are the commands to check the integrity of that. PCWCO for the users, this command; for the group, this commands. Okay. See. PWCK. So what is the file you have to check? /etc/ if I want to /start. Okay. So this is how the integrity file does not exist. Okay. So this is the integrity of file. Clear. If you want to see for the users, /etc/password file. So pwck /etc/password. So this is the integrity file. Integrity means nobody has changed this. If anybody has changed the integrity file, so it will show you exist. That is what I'm saying. For groups, we can check the integrity of file using these options. Like as I said before, for users it will be /etc/password file, /etc/shadow file. Now for the groups it will be /etc/group files, /etc. Sorry, I didn't give a space. /etc/group file. So that is all. There is no integrity. There is no need to check the integrity now, as it is saying that all is okay. Okay. So if you by mistake, if you delete a user, you can recover the user. Like you can recover the user, whatever the user is deleted, by using this command pw unconvention. So it create the users according to /etc/password file and deletes the /etc/shadow file. and these files is also maintained a backup. This file will be duplicated one copy will be duplicated because it should maintain the users as before. For the recovery purpose, it maintains the duplicate file like /etc/password file. Okay. What is a group? A collection of users is called a group. There are two types of group: primary group and second group. The primary group will be automatically created, like if you are a root user. See, now I'm a root user, right? ID as I'm a root user, it starts from 0, as I said you before in the table. Exactly, as a root user, as a EC2 user, I have added to the group called V. So this is a primary group which is created by default. Secondary group, this is the groups which you create, like group create. Like if you want to create a group, you can create a group by adding this command. So these are the groups which you can create. Okay, one user can be maximum in 16 groups. I have a user called Mary /etc sudo su hyphen. See, I have a user called Mary. So this Mary user can be added in 16 groups maximum. He can be assigned 16 groups. He may in 16 groups. So in that way, users can be assigned in the groups, guys. We can having a user mode options for modifying the user and all these things, modifying the groups. Similarly, the user will have a user mode action to modify all these things. Modifying all these details belonging to the user. So the password will be stored in gpassword file. So the important topic is now, guys. So as a EC2 user, I'm also a sudo user. I can log into the root and also can be a normal user, right? So I have to make Mary also as a root user, as a sudo user, who can be a normal and who can be also become a root user. So how are we gonna doing it? So we have to add the user in the sudo's list. We have to add the user in the sudo's list so that the root user can be a sudo user who can access all these things. So vi sudo, these are the sudo files actually. So if you see here, you search for the term called user. Okay, now you can see this here. As before, I added some users here to make them a sudo user. Now I'm gonna add Mary user to sudo's list, so he can become a sudo user. Without adding here, if the user try to execute any command, if that user tried to be a root user, he could not become a root user. Okay, that is hard. Okay, that is what I'm saying. But now it is saved. Now let's see whether the user can become a root user. For that, I'm gonna exit this system. So I'm gonna check that if it is added or not, guys. Once I have to check that. Vi sudo search So it is not saved, guys. Now I have to save this. I have to save this file after I add the user called Mary is equals to R. Saying that there is a error in the syntax called in line 92. As of now, I do not have anything. Okay, I'm gonna explain this in the part 2, guys. As of now, I will end the class.